And what would you say to a teacher who's kind of a little bit on the fence? They're ready, they've got that vision like you have, but they're a little bit on the fence about it.
Well, I think I'd go back to what I said earlier, which was you just have to try. Like if you don't know, if you don't ask, you're never going to know if you could have done it. So start the process, and even if you failed the first time, now you know what you need. Now you know what you want to do, and if you fail and you still want to do it, then now you're armed with the information to make it happen.
You're listening to the Topcast, the original podcast for growth-minded instrumental music and voice teachers since 2015, with your host, Tim Topham. Our mission at Top Music is to empower instrumental music and voice teachers to find and nurture their innate creativity so that they can teach lessons that are innovative, integrated, and inspiring, and that will have a positive, lifelong impact on their students. Join us each week as we interview teachers and creators from around the world and unpack fun and exciting ideas to maximize your teaching and studio business success. Welcome back to the Topcast. It's Tim here. Have you ever thought about hiring an external space for your studio, like actually leasing a commercial space? It can be a huge step up and mean a whole lot of anxiety, but it can also be the start of an incredible journey to studio growth that leads to running a studio academy or even a school. So I know that there's lots of questions out there from people who are considering doing this. And so I thought I would get on the program today a member of our team who has just gone through this process. Anamarie has been teaching for many, many years and finally jumped in and made the decision to lease a commercial space for her studio. And what I did is, just before recording this interview, I asked our community members, what would you like to know about this process? And it was great to get some questions through that I could then propose to Anamarie. So in this episode, you're going to be finding out about whether you should maybe buy a space or lease it and how you make that decision, what some of the frustrations and challenges were, what unexpected things came along for Anamarie, how her students have reacted with finding out about this change because Anamarie is actually a traveling teacher. You'll hear about how she found the location, how she's managed to afford the renovations and getting the whole place set up. And importantly, looking back, what did she wish she knew when she started the process, which is exactly where I know some of you are right now. So let's jump in and hopefully answer some of those questions that might be swimming around in your head and perhaps have been on your mind for many years as you've considered this. My guest today is Anamarie Sabbagh, who's been teaching music since 1995. She's built a reputation as the premier studio for young learners in her area. Her unique multinational background, fluency in other languages and cultures, combine to create a welcoming atmosphere that resonates within the community. She has presented internationally at various events on her approach to both learning and studio management. Welcome to the show, Anamarie Sabbagh. So great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you're a member of our Top Music team. You work with our Studio Plus members. You give me lots of advice and support all of our very many goings on. So thank you very much for all the work that you do behind the scenes.
Sure. Thank you.
Now, you've been a traveling teacher for, was it 30 years?
Yeah, someone just told me that.
So can you tell us about your day-to-day teaching as it was up until recently while you were traveling? And then we're going to talk about the very exciting change, which is happening right now.
Okay. So I actually still travel teach, but at one point I had 62 students. And so I had a 5-day work week where, 3 to 9 every day, people were trying to get in, so they would take that last slot. And then on Sundays, I had a 12-hour day.
Oh my gosh. 60 is hard enough if they're coming to your studio, but let alone traveling. Oh my goodness. I hope some of them were siblings in the same house.
Some of them were. I had one family that had 4 kids in one house and another one that had 3. They now have 4. So it made it easier. And I love hanging around with kids. Like, I think I'm about as mature as they are. So it works out really well.
So how many teachers have you got now then?
Me personally, I think I have like 14. And then in the studio, we have over 100.
Okay. So you've got some other teachers working for you. Yeah. So how many of those teachers, and do they also travel?
They all travel. And for the new thing, they're still going to keep traveling. I'm going to keep this boutique model where they'll go to people's homes. And then the things that are offered at the studio, just because I want to make sure I'm covering my cost, I'm going to be the only one doing them to start it.
Okay, so let's talk about this, because just recently you decided to secure a lease on your first commercial location so that you could build a bricks and mortar school. And the reason I wanted you on the show is because I know that while not every teacher wants to do this, there are lots out there who go, wonder if I should, wonder if I could. So firstly, huge congratulations. I've been watching the building updates on Facebook with excitement. It's been great. But I guess the big question for me is, why now?
So last year I went to MTNA and hung out with you, but I also arrived early to go to the recreational music making, you're not really giving lessons day. And I was so impressed with all of the resources and the fun things people were doing. And so that sort of started it. And then this year I went again and I paid for the extra day. And I was like, okay, I want to do this. Like, I want to have a space where I can do this in. Our house is not small, but when you have 20 kids in it, it's small. So I needed a space to do that. And I needed something that was reliable and that fit my schedule. Like, I know a lot of people, when they're doing music during the day, they might use a dance studio or a karate studio, but I would need it for the same time that other people's did. And I don't know. It felt like it was impulsive, but it's been percolating for a long time.
Just back to the recreational music making, this is not something that teachers in the UK or Australia would be familiar with. Can you talk about what that actually is?
So it is all of the teachers in the recreational music making are group piano teachers. So they all do group piano lessons. Everybody has their own style of doing it. It's a really great way to come up with new ideas and concepts that you can use in your studio, because everyone has such a different approach. They're all fun, which is great because you want to keep kids engaged. And this past year, we all played, like the piano teachers played multi-level songs together, because there are now a lot of multi-level pieces. And that was really fun. Like, even just to be able to try it out in a group and see how it felt and see how well it worked together.
So the concept in the new studio will be that you are the teacher and you'll be teaching groups predominantly.
Yes.
Now, did you think about buying, or was it only ever a lease that you were looking for?
Well, first of all, I didn't know if I could even do it. I just sort of like jumped in with 2 feet. So there was one building that I really liked, and it was $2 million cash. Like, they didn't want anything else. I don't really have that hanging around.
No.
So I think too, I wanted to lease because I don't know. I mean, this is my first time out, so not a huge commitment. And if I needed to back out of, I won't back out of the lease, but let's say if after the lease is done, I decide, well, this is not really working. It's a lot less commitment than the $2 million cash. So
Absolutely, yes. So you've talked about some of the things that you were looking forward to being able to do, i.e. the group teaching and those fun activities. Were there any frustrations, or are there, with the travel teaching that also pushed you towards this decision from that side?
not really. I mean, like, I've been really good about organizing my routes, and I'm good about communicating with my parents. So there weren't frustrations. It was just the need to have a space to do those things in. As it was, I do like a piano party every quarter, and it's a 2-day process to get all those kids in and have activities, and then set up all the activities, and then tear them all down because we have to get dinner on the table. So just to have a space where I could keep things open and a place to store everything was really what enticed me.
Now, Rachel Ehring, who is the host of our piano podcast, asked a question that she wanted me to forward on to you. So we might do that now. She said, how do you know you're ready And what do you need to have in place financially before you take this leap?
I think you need to have your down payment in place. We negotiated some caveats in our lease. So our landlord did not want to do any tenant improvements here. So, and he didn't really white box it either, which, when you walk in, it's just ready for you to decorate or do whatever. So we negotiated 4.5 months or 5 months of abatement. So what that means is we're not paying rent for the first 4 or 5 months. And then I did have to pay the down payment though. And I mean, I ended up securing a loan, but I know you're going to ask me about that in a minute. For me, I like change. I like things that are different. And so when I get that opportunity, I'm like, yes, but I know that's not everybody. So I think for somebody who's maybe more analytical and needs a little more backing, I would just do like a spreadsheet or even ask ChatGPT, what do I need to start a physical studio? And then you can work towards that goal.
And I think Rachel was kind of saying, how do you know you're ready? Do you have a sense of that?
I think it was after this MTNA where I was just like, you know what? I want this. Like, I really want this to happen. So that was my ready.
And did you look at sort of church buildings? I know you mentioned that the time is obviously constrained, and I think it sounds like you wanted the flexibility, you wanted the control to be able to do what you wanted, because there's that, school buildings, church buildings. I know people do groups in those areas. Did you think about that?
So I did do them. Well, I also do music together and Canta y Baila, which is the Spanish version of that. And I did that like for one session in the church because the room that they gave me looked like an old English library, like dark paneling and green carpet. And it was not very conducive to a fun environment. And then I would have to bring all the pianos in and then take them all out because there was no place to store them. So actually, I think that experience is also what pushed me in the direction of getting my own spot.
How did you find the location?
I have an aunt who's very involved in that church. And
the one that you're leasing.
Oh, the one that I'm leasing. Okay. I got with a realtor, and I will say, many years ago, I was doing co-working and I looked at different places, and the male realtors would not look at me because I had brought someone with me who I felt like knew more, who was a man, and they would only talk to that person, even though I was the one investing, I was the one doing things. So this time around, we have a mom's Facebook group, which is like a wealth of resources. And so I just said, no offense, but I want a female realtor. And so I got a bunch of recommendations. I made some phone calls to find out how things worked. And then I chose somebody, and she was excellent about finding me spots. The other constraint that I had that other people might not have is because I'm doing music together, they sort of block off where you can teach in relationship to the other classes that are going on. So I had a very narrow corridor of where I could teach and how far I was willing to travel.
I see. Yeah. Well, tell us about it. What does it look like? How many rooms have you got?
It is. I did the conversion earlier, and now I can't remember. I think it's like 170 square meters or 1872 square feet. And that's the one floor. And then there is actually a full basement that's totally open. So it used to be a veterinary clinic. So there are 3 rooms that were examination rooms that are like the perfect size for an individual lesson or a practice lesson. One room was an office. Then there's another room that was the surgery room. So that's got like a window on it. And I thought that might be a good place to have like a theory table and a game area where you're a little bit separated from the main room. We knocked down a wall to make a huge room to have the piano lab in, and also to put a carpet down for the music and movement classes. And then there is another room that was the x-ray room, and the walls are lined with lead. So we could not knock them down without some serious cost. So I decided that would be a great place to add a perk for the studio and say that kids could come and record their audition tapes there, or concert submission tapes, or contest submission tapes. Tapes, I'm dated. Anyways,
Recordings,
um,
yes.
yes. And then there's a big waiting room area. So it's pretty big. Like it's a
Sounds enormous.
decent size to get
And that's
started.
not including the basement.
Nope.
Wow.
Basement's totally open. And I'm thinking as we get up and running, maybe I will end up renting the basement for people who either want to record like in bigger groups down there or have practice space and make up some of the rent that way.
Yeah. Wow, this is very exciting. And is it located inside a shopping center, a strip mall? Where is it?
It is its own building. So I got really,
In a residential area or industrial or?
it's a residential-ish area. So the street that it's on, there's a cute little market, and there's a Pilates store and a barber shop and a hardware store. So it's on this strip, and there are some commercial things. Clinton Pratt said he rented his place, and well, when he changed places, one of the best things was is that he was right at a stoplight. So people would be waiting and they would look over.
Oh, really?
Oh, what is this?
What a neat thought.
So I'm not far from the stoplight. That was another perk I felt like.
Did you have any misconceptions about leasing before this process started that you've now kind of busted? Any myths?
It did not move as fast as I wanted it to.
Right.
It was very frustrating for me. I understand why people left the Catholic Church at this point, because I had to go through my realtor, who had to go through their realtor, and then their realtor talked to them, and then the messages went back and forth that way. I couldn't, there's like a barrier. You're not supposed to talk to the other person until the deal is signed. And so I felt like that was a very inefficient process. I mean, I decided, okay, this is it. This is the place, probably end of May. And I didn't get the contract signed for another month. And then the person who owns the buildings, they own that whole strip. So they don't feel the need to get started and working as much as I do. So they took a lot of time to get their stuff done.
All right. So keep in mind that it will take longer than you think, I think is what I'm hearing.
I think it's like any other construction project that somebody does, like when you remodel your kitchen and they say, oh, yeah, we're going to be out of here in 6 weeks. And then 6 months later, it's still going on. It's that.
Yeah. And you mentioned at the start that the landlord didn't offer to do any rectification, and you weren't given a blank slate, a white room or whatever you called it. So it already had these partitioned rooms and that sort of thing. So I imagine other teachers, that will depend on the landlord and what they've organised. So some will come into a blank space. Some will have financial assistance. Is that all a negotiation?
Yes, it's all a negotiation. I would say that like the majority of places, especially if you're renting in a commercial strip mall or something, it's even in the fine print when you're first looking that they're going to white box it. So everything's going to be a blank slate. You can go in and do what you want with it. I think this was a unique situation in the sense that, again, he's got a lot of income coming from other places, so he didn't really feel the need to do it. He was just hoping that another vet would move in there so he wouldn't have to do anything. I ended up securing a loan because there's no way that I could have done all this. I mean, it was either going to go on credit cards or secure a loan, and the loan's a lot less interest-wise. So
absolutely. Yeah, well, tell us about that. So the loan covers, without going into too much detail, obviously, but the loan covers the down payment, which in Australia, I think we call a bond, effectively, the thing that gives you the access and pays for a few months' worth in case you disappear or something, they can claw back. So I think that's that. And then has the loan also given you a barrier for when the lease payments start and for the modifications too, right?
The loan process was something that was totally separate. So I had the cash for the first down payment. And then I also started the loan process maybe end of May, beginning of June. And I just got the funds on the 9th of August. I mean, of September. So
May, June, July, August, 4 months?
Yeah. So You do so I did it through the SBA, which is the Small Business Association here. And so you go on the website, you say you want a loan, they match you with certain banks, then you go through the initial process. And like, I mean, I'm not embarrassed to say it because I was trying to fund all this stuff. So like one bank, the day that they pulled my credit was below 700. I think it was 697. Next week it was back up above 700, but I got denied like from two or three banks for that. And then one bank that seemed super interested, they just never followed up. Like I sent them several emails like, "Hey, I'm ready to go." And they never wrote back. And then there were a couple that were interested. I got matched with six. So now we're down three. The other ones were interested, but there was one that I liked the best and they approved me for more than my initial ask. So I just took all the money. But the going through them was easy. It was the SBA approval that took so long.
Okay. And I think the SBA, I know it's specific to the United States. I think it gives you slightly lower interest rates on the whole. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they're regulated because everywhere that I got through the SBA, it was the same interest rate. And I think it provides you a little leeway in terms of you don't really have to convince everybody of what you're doing because that's their purpose is to help small businesses thrive. So it was not a hard process. I will say like all these things that I thought, oh my God, they're not going to approve me and I'm never going to be able to make this happen. It all happened. Like it was just doing it. So I think if anybody's wondering if they're ready, just try. Like you won't know until you try. And if you do, I bet you'll be pleasantly surprised.
How long is your lease? And is there extensions available? How does that work?
So that was the other thing that was interesting. Like everywhere else wanted 5 years. And this person wanted 3. And then I have an extension for 3 years after that. So they didn't necessarily want to be committed to me for a long time. They wanted to see what would happen first. And I put so much money into the building and made so many changes. We're going to do the extension no matter what.
Okay, right. Yeah, I was going to say, so you and the money that you sink into a leased premises is not money you'll get back, is it?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if I make it in profit, then great. But
if you moved out, you don't. That money doesn't suddenly come back to you. The walls that you've put up or torn down and paid for, and the building works, that's all sunk costs that you hopefully regenerate through profit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And so was it quite a challenge to find trades and carpenters and all that sort of thing, or was that relatively easy?
So here in the United States, we have a problem with that. Like
we do too.
A lot of people are leaving. We won't discuss how they're leaving. We'll just say they're leaving. And because that's a whole nother conversation. So it's hard to find tradesmen in the first place. But I am very lucky in the sense that my husband has done all those things before. And he's actually like a certified builder and an electrician and all those things.
Oh, that is very handy. I didn't know that.
It is super handy.
Wow. So was he on the tools and doing the work or just managing?
He had some other people knock down the big wall that I wanted to get rid of, but he threw out all of the debris. He's installing the floors right now. Tomorrow he'll start putting up soundproofing to check and see how that's going to work out. We hired a friend of his to paint. So he has connections too that many other people don't have. But again, I would go back to ask your local Facebook group. Like the moms know everything. So if you want a plumber or an electrician, they will have it for you.
You know who else I reckon knows everything? Everybody. And that's hairdressers. Anytime I talk to my hairdresser, they're like, "Oh, you need an electrician. Oh yeah, no, I got this great guy. He comes every week. Oh, you need a real estate agent. Yeah, they come in all the time."
It's true.
Yeah, it's so true. Thank you very much for sharing all that. Let's talk about your current students. Have you started talking to them about this move? Are you going to continue traveling to some of them, or are you just saying that's it? You've got to come and see me here if you want to continue lessons. How are you managing that?
So the my students I've had now for so many years that I'm just going to continue to teach them. If someone
At their
quits and
houses?
comes, yeah, if someone quits and comes back, they're going to get a new teacher. I'm not dealing with that because I want to do something new. I mean, I've been doing this for so long and I really want to invest in the groups and see how that goes. But then there's also like the emotional side. Like, I love these kids. I've been with them for so long. I've been with one family now for, I think, 8 years. And the tiniest one, who has been watching all of her sisters take piano, came up to me last year and she said, Mrs. Anamarie, it's my turn to have piano lessons now. She was 4. She's like, I'm ready. So there's this kind of bond that I have with them. And I also think it's unique because you're in their homes every week. They're showing you their new bedrooms or their class projects or their it's a different experience travel teaching. And I don't know that I necessarily want to give that part up completely. So no, I have not told my students that they have to switch.
Okay. So, but you've only got 14 now that you travel to. So you're going to continue doing that. And then you're going to build a new student base at the studio from scratch.
Yep.
How are you going to do that?
A lot of word of mouth, like posting on Facebook groups and things like that. And then I should be better about it. And I'm trying to get there, but I need to advertise more on social media. And I'm considering using a bigger outfit to do it now that I have the funding from the loan. But I think I need to make a better effort before I make that decision because it's like 800 US dollars a month. It's a significant amount of money.
What would that get you? Is that an agency?
Yeah, that does the ads for you and they use Go High Level to manage their customer responses and automate a bunch of things. Like their minimum rates of, I forget the word, like when people call you and sign up is 12%. And I did the math, it would cover the $800, but it just makes me nervous. And I feel like I should try, like I shouldn't just spend all the money.
Well, like, yeah, I mean, my immediate thinking is, wow, I would feel the weight of this. Yes, I've got a loan, so I've got a buffer and I've got the no rent period, but this would weigh on my shoulders like, wow, I need to feel this to make it work. And I'd be feeling that pressure. It sounds like at the moment, I guess your focus is more on let's get in there, let's get it set up, let's get ready. And then the marketing's going to come.
I mean, I've talked to other teachers who have changed to group lessons. Dorla, who does Piano Pyramid, she's like, when I started, I had like 2 students that would come for lessons, and now they're all full. So I think I have a realistic expectation of what's going to happen in terms of like who's going to show up for class and how many people I'm going to have. I know the growth is going to be slow, and that's okay. I mean, I have a little buffer in there to cushion me maybe for like a year, but if after a year things are not going, then I might start panicking.
Well, I hope you don't have to. And look, I mean, you've taught up to 60 students. So, I mean, obviously you get great word of mouth. I mean, you're a fabulous person. I can only imagine your lessons are hilariously fun. So I'm sure it's going to go really well. Tell me about the curriculum you plan to use for your group lessons. Because you mentioned that licensing of like your area. So what was that program and what ages is it for?
So that's Music Together, and that's 0 through 5. And so they have a very set curriculum. They give you the books for each. There are 4 sessions through the year. You're supposed to do that curriculum all the time. They give you the books, they give you all the things, and you have a lot of training that goes into that. So there's that. And then there's another one that's called Canta y Baila Conmigo. There is no one in my metro area that's doing that. So I don't have any restrictions there, but we'll do them in the same place. And then for the regular piano lessons, I'm going to use a combination of things for what I'm calling piano prep, which would be ages like 4 to 8. So I'll use some of Dorla Apariso's, I think it's called Piano Explorers book. I'll probably use some Faber just because I've been using that for so long. And then I feel so bad because I can't remember the name, but there's another person that I met at MTNA which has piano detectives, and it's another whole curriculum. And so I will probably end up combining all of those because I never can just do one thing.
And so you'll do some one-on-one lessons as well as the groups in that space. Is that the plan?
I don't have, well, no, I probably won't because a lot of that's focused on younger kids, and I'm not taking new students except for the sibling that insisted it was her shot now. So, yeah. And then for the 8 to 14 or 8 to whatever age will be the piano pyramid group. So those are going to be the multi-level lessons. And then once I get things going, maybe I'll do adults. There's another woman that I met at NTNA and at NCKP, and she's having great success doing adult like concerts and lessons, but she combines them with alcohol. So
always a win.
Right. So it's like mules and Mozart, or I don't know, Bach and whatever, like bourbon.
But yeah, right. Okay. Clever.
Yeah, and they're sold out and everybody plays. And I'm thinking, well, of course everybody plays. Everybody's having a drink every day.
And do you picture hiring other teachers or hiring an admin person to sit at the front desk and welcome people, that sort of thing eventually?
Yes. So it's not even eventually. So I have one teacher who has moved to Florida, and she's supposed to open a Keys to Success in Florida. And while she's waiting for that to ramp up, she's going to be like the virtual admin person. And then once we have things going in both areas, then we can hire someone else. I have hired someone from Nigeria I found through Fiverr, and she's building out the CRM with the automations and those kind of things. And then the same parent of the 4 girls that now all want to take piano, and then the oldest one also takes cello lessons. I just never raised any of their rates for them because there's that emotional component. It is not a smart business move.
don't do it.
But this year I moved to a new system, and so everybody had to sign up as if they were new parents, and her bill was double.
Right. It had been stagnant for that long.
Yes. And I reached out to her because I'm like, I don't want you to have a heart attack, and we can talk about this. And she is a community manager and a marketing person. So we're actually going to end up trading.
Did you say trading? Trading.
Right.
Yes.
She's going to do the social media and the marketing and those kind of things for me, which I dread doing. And since I'm the only one teaching her kids, I don't have a problem. Well, I don't teach cello, but the 4 piano lessons, I don't have a problem discounting those because we're trading services.
Yeah, clever idea. Yeah. Now, given that we're kicking off Streamline Your Studio month, what software do you use for your admin and studio?
So I just switched. I was using Fonz before.
So Fonz, F-O-N-S. Yep, we've talked about that before.
Yep. But it was kind of silly, but if you do workshops in Fonz, you can upload a picture, but the picture has like this ombre that happens, so it sort of dissolves by the end. And that was against my licensing agreement with the 2 music and movement groups. So that was kind of my push. And I had mentioned it a couple times, and I'm sure they get a billion requests for things. So it just didn't make it high enough on the list. And then I ended up switching because the company that I moved to was willing to help me customize a lot of things so it would work the way I wanted it to. So someone suggested Jackrabbit, and I interviewed with them, and then I also interviewed with another company called Sawyer. And what I thought was interesting is Sawyer was founded by women, but it was a male salesperson who was like the epitome of the slick salesperson. And I was super turned off. And then I think Jackrabbit was founded by men, but I've worked with all women, and it's been a great experience so far and so much help. That is one thing I cannot fault. Like, I can schedule as many help sessions as I want, and it's all included in my price. They give you the first month free, knowing that you're going to be setting everything up the first month. And it is very reasonable for 100 students. It's $49 a month. And if you pay a little bit more, well, it's probably double actually. If you pay more though, they will develop an app just for your studio and streamline things just for your studio. So I want to grow. I already know where I'm headed and what I want to do. That's part of the reason I'm in South America right now. So I want all these things to be built out so that as the studio grows, I don't have to have as many pain points as I'm having right now.
So looking back after all of that, are there things that you would have done differently or questions you would have asked that you didn't even know about?
Yeah, I would have asked, how long does this realistically take to get the building and all these things up and running? I think I would have asked how long the SBA process take from other people, because the people at the bank were like, oh, well, we don't know. Sometimes it can take a while. But I think I would have gone out of my way to find other people who had done an SBA loan to get a better idea of how lengthy the process was. I probably would have, if I had been thinking that way, thought about like really calculating the furniture out and what I was going to do. But
You mean sort of budgeting how much it was all going to cost, how many pieces, what? Yeah.
But I just attacked Facebook Marketplace and picked up a bunch of things from all over that would kind of fit. So maybe I would be more analytical, but I don't know. That's not really my wheelhouse.
I'm sure you've got spreadsheets and things in the background.
I do.
Yeah, you must do in order to sort of keep track and make sure you're on top of things. But no, that all makes a lot of sense. And what would you say to a teacher who's kind of a little bit on the fence? They're ready, they've got that vision like you have, but they're a little bit on the fence about it.
Well, I think I'd go back to what I said earlier, which was you just have to try. Like, if you don't know, if you don't ask, you're never going to know if you could have done it. So start the process. And even if you failed the first time, now you know what you need. Now you know what you want to do. And if you fail and you still want to do it, then now you're armed with the information to make it happen.
And I think the other thing I've picked up, even though we haven't explicitly said it, is that you are someone who loves learning and meeting people and learning from people. And so you've gone to the conferences, you've gone to the sessions, but you've also connected individually with people who have done this and are doing it. Would you say that was fairly instrumental in how this has all come together?
Yeah, I think, I make a point to show up. So if I say that I'm going to go to an online teaching or something, like I show up and I make a point of reaching out to the person. In these past 2 years, I have made all these contacts that I never had before. And then this year I spoke at NCKP and I had people who I admired and have watched this whole time come up to me and tell me like, oh, well, now you need to do this because now you're in a new spot. And they enjoyed my presentation and they had, great advice to give me. And I think that's all because I've really made an effort to talk to people and ask questions and be interested. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's like the number one. Just ask the question.
Yes. Anamarie, is there anything that we've forgotten to ask you or that you've been thinking, we really need to cover this? Or have we covered most of what you've gone through?
I think we've covered most of what I've gone through. I also think something that was really key for me is I had a very concrete vision about how I wanted things to unfold. I have a very clear purpose of what my music studio is about and what I want to focus on. And so I think having that clarity is what's made me like push through. I don't have a lot of ambiguity about my purpose. And that's really made a difference. And so if someone's listening and they feel like they have some ambiguity, don't diss ChatGPT, because I use it all the time to like bat ideas back and forth and figure things out. I'll tell ChatGPT, I want to own a jet in 10 years. Can you work backwards for me and tell me how to get there? And they do. So I think it's a good way to kind of bounce ideas and get some thoughts that you didn't occur to you before, and just kind of run with those things.
Where could people go to watch your progress? Because I know I've seen some videos and things online. Have you got a website and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's keystasuccessmusic.com. The Instagram and Facebook are the same name, Keys to Success Music. And then I'm trying to do my personal page a little bit more about what this has been like. And so that's Latina Fabulous.
Latina Fabulous on Instagram.
On Instagram.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Thanks for giving us the inside and the warts and all kind of view of what's going on. And I really look forward to continuing to see how it all unfolds in the coming few months. When does it all open?
My goal is October 6th to start running classes. And I do have interest in people reaching out. So I might only have one to start, but one is better than none.
Wow, that's like 3 weeks away.
It is.
Oh, exciting.
It is. I arrive from South America, then I have one more trip that I have to do. And then basically I have the end of September, beginning of October that week. But, you know what I will say is that keep busy while this whole construction thing is going on, because as a teacher with no skills in the trades, it is very frustrating because you want things to move faster. And
there's nothing you can do.
Right. There's nothing. But it's also very, what's the word? Like you feel useless, powerless, because you can't make the needle move any farther. So maybe while all of that's going on, work on defining your systems or work on getting your curriculum together. Focus on the things that you can do so that you don't feel so powerless while all the other stuff is going on that you cannot do.
Right. Good advice. Great advice to finish on. Thank you again, Anamarie. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. I do one last thing. If anybody needs anything, wants to ask questions, please feel free to reach out. On the website, there's, you can submit an information form or on any of the social media things. And Tim will know. I am happy to help out.
Very, very much, yes. And I can't think of a better person to ask questions. If I was going to do this and I was in America, I'd be asking you quick as a flash. So yeah, what a lovely offer. Thank you so much for being so open to sharing. Thanks, Anamarie. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Tim. Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my chat with Anamarie and it's had some questions answered for you. If you are looking at making this shift, then come and join our community if you're not already a part of it. You can connect with people like Anamarie and many others who have already been there and done that. Save yourself the heartache and the problems and the pains. Be a part of our community, ask those questions and get the support that you need. Find out all about Top Music Pro membership at topmusicpro.com. Now, I also wanted to mention that we are right at the start of October, and that means it's a new theme month for Top Music. And our theme for this month is teaching with technology. And I'm very excited that we will be releasing very shortly our magazine on this topic. And of course, we have podcasts, both the Top Music Piano podcast with Rachel Ehring and also the Topcast. We will be covering this topic in lots of detail. And I've got an super fun episode coming up for you really, really soon where we are crowdsourcing all the best tech ideas from lots of teachers around the globe in a roundup podcast that's going to be a quick grab your pen, take some notes, go and grab the tech that you need that is recommended by all these amazing teachers. So I'm really looking forward to that, bringing that one to you. It's coming out really, really soon. Until then, thanks so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you today, and I'll speak to you again this time next week. How do you keep up to date with all the latest trends and research into music education? How do you connect with other teachers around the world and make sure your teaching stays fresh and relevant for students of all ages and stages both now and into the future? I created our Top Music Pro membership to be the one-stop shop for music teaching resources, training, support and community and I'd love for you to come and join us inside. With over 40 comprehensive training courses, hundreds of teaching demonstrations and lesson plans, free monthly sheet music, discounts, and all the business and pedagogy support you could ever need, Top Music Pro is the community you've been looking for. If you're ready to level up your learning from the podcast and join thousands of other teachers in our global network, head over to topmusicpro.com today. If you enjoy this show and want to hear more of our work, be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening today. For links and resources mentioned in this episode, visit us at topmusic.co/podcast or check out the show notes. I'm Tim Topham. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy your week ahead, and I'll catch you next time.